friends, Heroic versus MnM Gaming is about to begin our match of the day. And definitely the most important game that we have lined up for you in this Playday number 8, our penultimate one here. And man, the winner of this one might be able to qualify depending on other things. There's so many factors around differential before we get into how teams are separated beyond that into different types of tiebreakers, like 7 layers until we get to it. It's Dante's Inferno here in the match of the day, and I hope you're all ready for it. I'm Moshe Lemedic, your host. With me are Anne and Fresh. How about we have a chat about these two teams? Specifically, a quick introduction, because I think we both know who they are. First up, Heroic. Anne, what can you tell me about them?
Exactly. A team where this game is really going to start to matter for them, and we have seen them struggle a little bit when it comes to having a lot of pressure on their shoulders. I mentioned some executes last 2 games where they wanted to go for the attack, but the diffuser was nowhere near them. Some late round executes that seemed kind of messy, but hey, there were some really good things as well. Specifically in that last game against Secret on the attacks, we saw them bring out the Monty, cover off that plan really well, win out that 1v1, that hilarious 1v1 in their final attacking round, and just a good solid performance from some players on that front line as well. We've mentioned Benja before. We were talking about him in our comparison with the player on the other team, but still, he's really high when it comes to rating and KD. I think he's actually leading the scoreboards from all the EUL players at the moment.
The one big question I've got in my mind is, can this roster deal with the pressure? It's the pressure. It's just the one big thing. You think all the way back to when they had to play stage 3 last year, when they had to play for the Yavla Major, when they literally had to just beat the old Heroic, the French Heroic, to win, to go through. Then they bottled SI, then they've bottled the Berlin Major. Every time there's been a pressure game, this roster in the old iteration has crumbled down. Here's the test now. The new iteration, here is the test.
You mentioned bottled the SI qualification. Look who's they're playing against. MnM on the other side. Let's bring them up. What can you tell me about the team, then?
Consistently inconsistent, I think, is the best way to describe this team. I think you've got a roster who's been together for a whole year, big picture, Challenger League all the way through to being a top 4, or want to be a top 4 UL team. And I think it's just, it's up, down, it's up, down, it's up, down. Especially this stage, it's felt more so. It's felt very chaotic, where they've won games that they potentially shouldn't have won in terms of the map. That game against Rogue, for example. They've lost games that they shouldn't have lost. The very last game against G2. They've got the makings of what could be an absolutely excellent team in this meta, with 2 on the back line, 3 in the front line, and a really good team with the way the meta plays out, especially on attack. But they can't quite find that consistency at the moment.
Yeah, and that game against G2 last week specifically, there were some really good reads onto what G2 did. They set at the top floor, for example, for a bar defense, really read into what was happening from G2, but also some sloppy executes coming out from MnM, whereas they try to get a plan down without having really a lot of map control or a lot of control in the building in general. And something they're also really lacking is a lot of plans in general. If you look at this team, in total, 7 plans. Just a little comparison, Playday by himself, almost double the amount of what this entire team has in regards to plan rate. I
mean, Playday is Playday for a reason, right? Anyways, how about we take a look at our map for this series? So, first up, Skyscraper goes away, and we go to Theme Park. Okay, MnM going for the last pick. They take out Villa just before. So, not sure if Heroic were able to win out the map ban phase here, but they start off on defense, MnM on attack. Do you believe that there's a winner here, Anne?
Well, I think MnM played that really smart, banning out Villa there. They lost that map versus Outsiders this stage, and Heroic has a really good map rate on it so far. But Theme Park, it's a map that neither teams have really banned this stage, and Heroic won it against Secret last week, MnM won it against Na'Vi. So both teams have a solid and decent performance on it, especially for MnM. They can read into what Heroic did last week, but they don't hate this map because they don't really ban it at all.
I felt that MnM were going to get the choice of Villa or Theme. This is actually, you know, when you script a map ban, most of the time it goes nowhere near that. Yep. But the one that I scripted out for this was exactly the same, in that Heroic have to get rid of 2 of their pen bans in Oregon and Clubhouse. Then they have to get rid of Skyscraper and Shell Lake, because MnM are just so good on those maps. That leaves MnM getting rid of their pen bans, leaves Theme or Villa. Now, the big choice to me, I thought MnM would go to Villa. Because if you look at how Heroic played Theme Park last week, they were very comfortable on the attack, and I would expect them to improve on the defenses.
But that's the game, right? Because you've already seen what they have to show on it, and it's a map that doesn't get played often, so usually you don't have that much in the strat book to play in it.
Yes. I like this Villa Ben from MnM as well, because if you look at their defensive rate on Villa, it's probably one of their worst, whilst Villa by itself, the nature is quite defensive favorite, so if you know you're not going to be too comfortable in the defenses, you might as well want to get rid of the map anyway.
And if you think about how Heroic played Villa right at the start of the stage, we've played it a couple of times now where they're very big on that opportunity spot. They're into sight, Benja, Ju, Mello, into sight very quickly using the Dokkaebi of Grizzly. They're very good on that map as well. So it's kind of, even though MnM, I think, won the map phase, they were choosing the map, whoever started. Both maps, you can make an argument for Heroic to be the better team on it.
Then a player to watch out for, Jack, very
Solotov,
quickly.
Yep.
Look, in terms of the game, Solotov's got, like, I think 10 more entries. Like, in terms of entry engagements, he's got, like, 10 more than the next nearest player. Like, he is just the front line, and he often wins them as well.
Exactly, yeah. And on the other team, you're going to have to keep an eye out for Benja. He's top the scoreboards in regards of rating and KD. Is it going to be Benja Master versus Solotov in the entry parts of the round?
We had them in the head-to-head match in the match of the day segment of the pre-show. Wouldn't be surprised. So there we go. We keep up the consistency here. Let's see if these two teams can keep it up themselves because, like we said, both are known to crumble under pressure. How will they fare? Fresh, and thank you very much. We have it already. It's match of the day, and it's a big fight to see who can make it to the major. You got to take a full win. Heroic v MnM. And guess what? Who's casting MnM? It's Demo and Ollie. Enjoy.
Thank you, Milosh. We are going to be covering the match of the day. I'm wondering if anyone guessed correctly, Demo. We've only done the previous 2 maps, so I think there's a fairly safe assumption that a few people are
guess who it is.
Not quite the surprise anymore. We're going to be covering match of the day here, Heroic versus MnM. I'm quite looking forward to the prospect of headed over to a theme park. It's a map that both of these teams have showcased us in recent week. Think back to the Navi game for MnM. 7-4 win was a very good run for MnM on this very map.
Heroic in secret there on Thursday night as well.
Likewise, only a couple of nights ago, we saw Heroic beat Team Secret, who have just thrown a little bit of an upset Rogue's way. But match of the day, as this one, as most of the games do today, is quite a lot on the line for both these two teams, both floating
Is indeed.
around that 4th place spot.
Yeah, whenever I see Heroic go in the theme park, I just think not again. Not again.
Well, you don't want to see it?
Just like, what happened? What do you mean I don't want to see it again? What happened to me on Thursday night?
I mean, what happens to you almost every night?
No, you can't say that every night.
No, Thursday was particularly bad.
I was particularly broken on Thursday night.
That was, we saw some really weird stuff. We saw the Caveira.
Oh, did we?
The Monty ban.
Brilliant.
They've done the homework. Look at Grizzly. Grizzly's
That's
laughing his head off.
Honestly,
He
because
knows.
the Monty won Heroic 2 rounds on Thursday night. Off the back of it. Monty, very good to control the pace of the game for Heroic, being able to use the information.
Yeah.
Information is key. Whenever you've got some really strong gunners on the Heroic side, you give them as much flexibility as you can in terms of being able to spot out and call out for these players.
Is this going to be a case of MnM really doing their homework and just trying to counter everything?
I'd say so.
If so, one of 2 things. Heroic's adaptability is going to come under question. How deep their strat book is in terms of how many ideas have they got for this map, not just the bread and butter, what they ran through previously on Thursday night. And then on the other side of it, how good MnM are able to, make things up on the fly and circumnavigate some of these problems that they are likely going to face.
I don't know why, but I feel as though tonight this game's going to be a stomp.
Oh dear.
I get a vibe. I don't know who for though.
Is that just because
That's
we've
the
had a long game?
No, but I just feel as if it's one of those maps where I think we could see MnM go like 5-1, 6-0 up in the attack, or we could see Heroic go 5-1 or 6-0 up in the attack. I don't know, or on the defense, should I say. I just feel as if it's going to be one of those maps. I don't know why. I just do.
Well, we'll have to see. Qualifying probability here. Regulation win for Heroic sees them at a 90% chance of headed to the major, whereas a regulation win for MnM sees them at a 67%
So winner
chance.
nothing for MnM.
However, you could argue that this is a 6-point game because these two teams are neck and neck so far, and they are only separated by round differential.
Yep.
So if it is a stomp demo, that would be even more important.
Yep.
As of course, there is a chance for one of these two teams to come away with a full 3 points.
So whenever we've seen Secret go up against Heroic, Secret were just not ready for the aggression that Heroic were bringing out. They were not ready for different little pocket positions, these crouch, hide, rat positions that we start to see Heroic slip into. All it comes down to is, can MnM control that? Can they shut down, more importantly, that man there, Benja? He is just demon. That's it, just demon.
It's demon versus demon, isn't it? Because Solotov has been, without a shadow of a doubt, the best player on entry inside of the whole EUL, not just for MnM. He shines very bright in that category. He's been taken out first here.
Reloading.
Someone that had a fantastic game on Thursday demo was Uno.
He got out of the slump.
To rise from the depths where he's found himself over the course of this stage, he's never, of course, going to redeem entirely the stats because there isn't enough play days and there's not enough time.
Yeah.
But there's still a chance to put in
showed up when it mattered.
meaningful performance, and that's what he did on Thursday. It'd be nice to see that same level of confidence displayed again today. He's playing on the Ella. Does still have all 3 Grismots in pocket, so I'm not sure if he's saving them for a rainy day or not.
Could use them for night plants, I don't know. Something. But Heroic, they were holding upstairs. The Lion Scan will scare away Benja, and then the pings come in, and Tyrant will shoot him through the wall. So overall for Heroic, they were happy enough to almost, I think they're happy enough to bait almost to get Jum back to sight, it seems to be, because obviously Jum is also upstairs top dragon. As soon as they've lost Benja, I suppose they've kind of lost his friend, so they may as well go back to sight. They've wasted a minute 15. But that should still realistically be enough for MnM. They have the hard breach alive, they can open up the walls. There's only mute jammers, which can be destroyed quite easily with a nade over the top from Tyrant can utilize his nades that he still has, or the EMP grenades that Nello has. So realistically, there should be no issues for MnM carrying out a successful attack.
Especially now that they know that all the players are down on the site. They've got so much info here.
Be,
The Jackal, the Lion, everything's going to be pinning those defenders in, and it's very unlikely to see anybody make that rotation out. We do see one of the Grismots pop there as some site utility is going to be burnt through. The Goyo canisters, they're going to burn a good chunk of this time. There's only around 30 seconds remaining.
Tyrant, open.
He's looking to push through split. Does have a couple of nades in pocket, but at the moment there aren't really many targets for him to go for. There's still so much utility on this Dragon Door that it's going to be very difficult here for MnM to try and hold on through there. But a great nade from Tyrant really opens things up, sends another one in, and Uno just has to dip out for the time being. Another Lion Scan to root these defenders in place, and the plant will start to go down. Tyrant doing his best to try and cover as much as he can. He's going to take a swing and find himself a kill. Make it 4 on the round. The plant is successful, and Uno has to try and retake. Tyrant, he's framing himself up for an ace here, and he very might well find it. A prone Uno. Looks as though Tyrant has a bit of an idea that someone's playing Wiggle Peak on the bomb chassis. MnM don't need to thirst after this at all. Uno has to make the move. People holding above as well. It's all looking pretty dire for Uno right now. Tyrant, is he going to find it? Quick little reload eventually. Will locks it in with the Deagle.
He's loving it.
Fantastic round from Tyrant. I've always said, such a great space finder. Really made something happen there, Demo.
I'll be honest, a little bit shaky of an attack. I know it may not seem shaky, but realistically, if you look at the way that MnM attacked that, they went off really nothing. They had split hatch open. Not a single of the reinforced walls have been opened up. That's a dangerous game to play. They did root out, I think, Heroic really well using the verticality.
Yeah.
Tyrant obviously played immense. Shooting the C4 out was the crucial one. It wasn't about getting the kills in that situation. It was about protecting the diffuser, because as soon as that goes down, then you can just hold it from above. But it was dangerous. A dangerous game that MnM had played, but it just worked. I personally would have loved to have seen a 2-man retake from Heroic going up Dragon Stairs and trying to challenge onto the players upstairs, because you know for a fact there's going to be at least 2 people downstairs, maybe even 3. Who's to say you can't take a 1v2 or a 2v2 upstairs and just try and win it, distract them? Because if you think about the positioning, if they're not opening up Yellow Wall, if they're not opening up Barrels or Dragon, they're just going to try and drop in the hatch and then plant where you would expect the plant beside the default, either in Pillar or just where we've seen that plant go down. As soon as you retake above, then at that moment you can have everyone else flood in and stop them from planting, because you know they can't play the verticality. So it all works in conjunction with each other, but Heroic just sat back and let them push. They let them have it.
They're a bit passive, weren't they?
They were too passive. Way too passive.
But they were relying on that site utility. They had the Goyos, they had the ADSs, they had everything they needed to try and stop a flood of attackers, but they didn't account for a hatch drop.
I would say that they didn't rotate the utility quick enough, because there was 2 Goyo canisters on Dragon.
they never even got used.
Nowhere near Dragon. There was no interest in that. You know very early on where teams are pushing in Theme Park for the Armory defense. You know that they're going to have to commit to either a yellow, or the barrels, or the yellow and the Dragon, or maybe just the yellow. You're going to know where teams are going to set up.
A lot of yellow.
It's a lot of yellow. It's always yellow's a great thing because it opens up everything. It keeps them trapped in behind the throne.
A little bit of gridlock action this round. Starting to see a little bit of breaching action open as well as drones working through Cafe. Site going to be drug.
This wasn't too successful, I remember, from Heroic. I think Secret had a good time attacking this setup because it was very easy just to segregate the Heroic members and just pick them off one by one. So there wasn't really an issue that Secret kind of faced, I would say, with that. If MnM can just keep the refrags and just single out these individual players from Heroic, because they do play very spread out. If you look at it right now, look, for example, a man inside of Armory, he's by himself, nobody's there for the refrag. This is where MnM can capitalize so much. They've seen this setup. It's the exact same setup from Heroic as what they did against Secret. And MnM, you mentioned, have they done their homework? Have they researched them? Yes, they have, because look at that pick.
It's almost disappointing to see Heroic try and play the same strats here because they know that they're just going to get found out. A little bit of a challenge there as a Toxic Babe canister is going to buy just a fraction of safety for Mellow, but nades still fly in. He's no ADSs now, he's no deployable shield. He's very vulnerable here. Track Stingers, they're going to cut off any potential rotate. Maybe goes for a bit of a swing here with the shotgun, but he'd potentially be ill-advised to do so. Tyrant still hasn't been shut down after that early kill, and he's now found himself at this double door at the bottom of these arcade stairs.
Man on the hatch.
Not in a great position. Still got someone above that could try and take him out there. Doom is going to be able to find one onto Neo, so at least levels things out for the time being.
This is tense.
Tyrant's really playing his life down here. He's again just waiting for that time to strike. Uses from above. Nello picks himself up one. Now surely is the time as bodies start to fall. Uno again left in the clutches here. The plant in the hands of Nello. It's not even going to be required. Tyrant, no one stopped him yet, Demo.
Nope.
Got 7 kills.
Oh, he's just on one. Just, what do you say? What do you say? Heroic, same issues as what they faced against Secret. They're too far apart from each other. There's no refrag. I'm surprised that we didn't see a nuke ban from Heroic. MnM are a staple nuke. I mean, Tyrant's staple nuke player.
Every team has got a staple nuke player.
But him especially because of, if you think about the role that he plays, I know that you could probably say, oh, well, Cryan's kind of known nuke. I would say that Cryan is more on cleanup than what he is entry kills. Tyrant is the entry. He's the one that MnM send in to create the plays. Cryan's there, you know, to find an odd kill to help out Exploit and co. Whereas I think MnM really rely on Tyrant being able to move in and create that space, like you mentioned, the space finder, the playmaker.
Timeout from Heroic.
Needed, because, I mean, they've kind of been clobbered both rounds.
It's good time to take it. You know, if things aren't going right, take the timeout.
I wonder if they change up their strategy plan. Does the strat book go out the window? That what they've seen? Do they change it for the way MnM are playing?
I think the disappointing thing, or maybe not the disappointing thing, because they may not have been expecting to come to Theme Park, but I think something to be conscious of is that a little timeout like that isn't enough time to really change your fundamentals of how you want to play the map. You can do, you know, 1 or 2 little things differently, but you can't discuss every, you know, 4 more sites and 4 more rounds onto what you're going to try and do.
You say that, look at the setup now that we're seeing from Heroic. They're opening up in towards barrels. They're looking for a roam extension now. What this is going to create is just something that MnM have to deal with, and that is going to be more roamers. MnM are very reliant on their attacks for, obviously, this Armory and Throne, is to make sure they have the map control. They're going to have to work very hard now to have that map control.
Yeah. Look at how responsive MnM are being, though. Tyrant off
Lion,
the Nook straight
Jackal.
away. Onto the Lion. Nello off the Lion onto the Thatcher. Right, they've got a Cade. We're not dealing with that.
Roamers,
Thatcher's available.
Jackal's coming in.
Let's deal with it.
You know,
Users is
good
playing
pickups,
Jackal
yeah.
again. So all of a sudden, MnM have been very reactive to whatever they've seen. They're not worried that, oh, they've changed something. What do we do? We've practiced all week for what they were going to do, and now they've changed something. They're immediately reacting to that.
They'll see immediately. Oh, they've opened up barrels. We know what that means. It's going to be a roam game from Heroic. We need to be ready for that. Wouldn't surprise me if we see a rush. Jump in barrels window, just straight into sight. It's open for them. We've seen it happens a few times where teams have opened up barrels and MnM have actually just abused that system. Who's to say it can't happen again?
Looks like there's caution for a run out here. There was someone caught on drone and windows seemed to be prepped. don't want to get caught out there on that rappel, and instead MnM just going to try and bait for the time being.
Where are MnM? Where are they entering in from? That is the question. Nowhere as of yet. I think they're just getting the drones in, aren't they? All again, respecting that roam game. I think against players like Benja and Joom, who can be so dangerous in that roam, you need to give them that respect. You need to make sure you can find out where they are. Slow and steady for MnM. Slow and steady. Is that enough to win the race?
I think it's nice that they're not actually rushing things here. They've recognized that something's a little bit different. They've recognized they need to approach things in a slightly different manner to the way that they did round one. And they're adapting accordingly to that. We're seeing the Lion scans come through. We're seeing now the drone work and almost the fruits of that as they are further discovering what is going on in the site. Solotov this time will be successful on the entry.
Slow and steady.
Nice kill on to Benja. Another Lion scan comes in and a bit more information off the back of it. Rip open the wall there into office. Joom is going to be forced out. Finds himself a kill onto Solotov. Great timing there from Joom. He's going to take a couple of shots in the back as he tries to retreat. Nobody there to catch him.
Look at the jackal
inside
pings.
of Cash. Usus is bearing down on him now as Grizzly tries to come and assist at the top of those dragon stairs. MnM know that they are slowly but surely funneling these players of Heroic deeper and deeper into the site.
50 seconds to go. I mean, the fact that Joom has got away with that kill on the Solotov is massive. The sledge is gone, but still breaching charges that I suppose Neo can place down and open up just what is needed. Mello's just tossed out a bit of an impact grenade there. For what reason, I'm not too sure. Was looking for something, but maybe should have kept those to maybe try and impact trick the ace charges as they get tossed on. So I don't know if that's going to come in to bite him in the end game. Tyrant in position, holding on to 90. There is, of course, Joom still alive. I wonder if they know where he is. They should know where he is, because realistically, Joom, the only place he could have fell back onto is that side of the map.
Incredibly tense with only 15 seconds left now. We're seeing Cade Claws replaced. We're seeing a little bit of burn come
Split drop
through
again.
now.
Oh, they
Bit of a
haven't
drop
checked
in
fire.
through Split, but there's going to be that Goyo canister
checked
this
it.
time.
Yep.
And Uno is
Yep.
there to collect. Finds one, taken out on the second, but it's likely not going to matter as Grizzly, he makes the Vector sing. Tyrant left trying to pre-fire his way through. Still hasn't been taken out, Demo. Still flawless on the KD, but it isn't going to matter if you lose the round.
Look at the difference there from Heroic. MnM have tried the exact same thing, where they've tried to drop in towards Split and push into the exact same plant position. This time they put somebody in Fireplace, which was not checked, which was a bit poor, it has to be said, if you're MnM. Probably because they didn't have any nades because they lost Solotov. If you don't have frag grenades, you cannot remove that player in that position Uno's in. He is there. He's stuck there. So it's either you have to pray that you can pre-fire him as you drop the hatch, or you get the nades. Without the nades, it's not nice to be in that position where you just have to go for the gunfight, and if you win, you win. If you don't, you don't. But also, even Grizzly, good reaction this time around. He pushed in. That's what we needed to see. We needed to see a bit more aggression from Heroic. He was able to push in towards Armory and then take them as they push in towards the doorway. That's the difference from Heroic. Great adaptation. It gets them the round.
So Heroic break the seal. And Usus breaks the lobby. Rehost required here. Hopefully we'll be able to get it done. Maybe just with Usus disconnect. Use the player to disconnect at the end of the pause. So hopefully we don't lose the lobby stats, but we'll see. Tyrant, I think currently 8-0, something mental like that. Good adaptation from Heroic, and that's something that we can take away. It was a question we asked, are they just going to play exactly the same as they did on Thursday? No, they've got a little bit more going on there, and they can just make things a touch more difficult. Theme Park is, of course, a difficult map to attack into. And the fact that MnM won the first couple of rounds in a relatively convincing way was, not quite a shock, but it was a bit of like, oh, okay. MnM, they really did the homework. They really know what they're going up against here. But it shows that Heroic have got a little bit more bite than that. As the players rehydrate themselves.
Any hydrates in chat?
I think everyone's taken a drink in like almost an order. It's gone Nello, Benja, Neo. Tyrant kicked things off with he had a mug. You don't often see a player drinking out of a mug. It's usually a water-only game. There we go. It's like going in a circle. Maybe I'll take a drink, Demo.
Take a drink.
I will.
You've worked hard tonight.
Yeah?
People forget that. We do sometimes have to drink quite a lot.
What do you think the score's going to be, Demo?
I don't know.
At the half.
Still,
At the half.
at the half,
Are we going to be going 3-3? Are you going to sit on the fence?
I'm still leaning towards like a 5-1.
A fence sitter?
Still leaning towards like these heavy halves.
That's why I asked you, because you did say that you were anticipating a bit of a stomp.
Yeah. I don't know if that round's swung. To be fair, Armory and Throne is probably the most favourable defender side.
Yes.
Should be winning those.
And we've only seen Drug as well.
Yeah.
So it hasn't really been, we've not seen a good spread.
I do think that still 5-1 is on the table. I don't think it's going to be an even split.
Well, we can see from Tyrant screen that everyone's in the lobby, although we did just lose someone. No, we're getting back in.
I mean, probably if you think about one of these things is not like the other. The first round, what operator was Tyrant on?
The Nook.
Did they win it?
Yes.
Second round, what operator was Tyrant on?
The Nook.
Did he win it?
Yes.
In the third round, what operator was Tyrant on?
Tyrant still got 2 kills in the third round.
What operator was he on?
He was on the Lion.
Did they win the round?
No,
There you go.
but I don't think it was. You can't.
There you go,
no,
chat. There
no,
it is.
we're
The
not-
analysis
we're not doing
is
that.
done. That's what you need to know.
We're not doing that. You can't.
Play Nook, win your games.
You can't. No, don't be spreading that as fact. That's misinformation.
Any Nook bans?
That is blatant misinformation.
Any Nook
Demo.
bans?
The last thing that ranked needs is more Nook mains.
Nook, trust me, if you're struggling in ranked, listen to me. Ban Nook, ban Alibi, thank me later. Trust me on that one. You eliminate half the population. Trust me. It's factual. It's true. Too many Alibi crutches for my liking. Too many. Too many of them.
Almost like the Iana crutch.
Iana's all right. Nothing wrong with Iana.
Iana was a bit of a crutch though.
No.
6 months ago.
Got nerfed. She got nerfed.
A bit of a crutch.
Issues.
Think a nerf. Or think a crutch, sorry.
I think a nerf was well needed. That was sitting waiting to happen, wasn't it?
I think that's something that it's gone in as a bit of a sleeper, and I think it's because of the time in the stage that it came in. But the Dokkaebi buff has really impacted the attacker bans.
Yeah, the ban rate, yeah.
Because this is a map where you would see Nook banned. You would see it, you would see Nook removed. However, because Dokkaebi's almost becoming the Thatcher of the banning phase right now, where it's just ban Dokkaebi, ban Dokkaebi, ban Dokkaebi, because they were popular before. Now they've got the slight buff, they're even more popular. It really does free up the attackers once again to be bringing these things like Nook every single time when it's available.
And if you put in the grand scheme of things of how you see Dokkaebi with that change, it's a lot of teams on defense, especially whenever operators like Valkyrie are going to be open. Heroic have always showcased a bit of Valkyrie. The fact that they can then just stop any information being fed at a moment's notice with one call is crucial. Those support players on the cameras, those dead players on the cameras, can just be neutralized, and that can allow you that freedom of space to move in and create these pocket plays where you catch them by surprise because they're not in the cameras. They cannot relay information.
Well, this has almost been like a extended timeout for both these two teams, hasn't it? I think
What's happening?
we're struggling to get the lobby back together. We do thank you for your patience, obviously, during this short little technical pause. And
Yes.
everybody's working hard behind the scenes to get us back into the game. You do wonder what this does for the pacing of the match demo and the momentum that both teams are under. Obviously, MnM picking up the first 2 rounds, Heroic coming back with a round and then immediately being thrown into a good 5-minute rehost.
Just like everyone's just wanting to get back in, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at Mello. He just wants in.
He's falling asleep, is the man.
But some very somber faces. They know a lot of pressure's on this game.
Solotov
Big
never
game.
blinks, does he?
No, he's
Never
all
blinks.
calm and collected. Look, he's playing with. Don't even have his hands on the mouse and
Doesn't need
keyboard.
him. Doesn't need him.
Don't even have a headset on.
Plays with his mind. Well, in terms of what we've seen so far, we've seen 3 rounds of Theme Park. And I think we've seen a little bit of everything from both the two teams' demo. We haven't quite seen
Good mix.
angry MnM just yet on the attack. They've been quite tempered in their approaches.
No 1v4 throws as of yet.
That's and again, it is something that we sometimes talk about. Jack build MnM as this inconsistent or consistently inconsistent team, which basically just means that they're all over the place all the time. We've only seen 3 rounds, but we haven't seen any indications of a huge throw just yet.
Here's a good question for everyone, just to have a thought about, is have MnM overachieved for this year?
You love this question. You asked me this last week.
Put it in perspective, all right? This team comes in after qualifying for a Challenger League, straight away, almost putting in, a kind of second half run in the first split to get top 4. They had bit of a tragic first opening half, didn't they? But then they started to pull it back and they were able to, you know, get some pretty good success. Then we see in the seconds, but they make top 4 in the space of a few months. They're able to make top 4. Is that not really, really good for that young side?
Is it good for the side, or does it speak to more of the quality that was around them?
It just shows that you know they're only going to get better. And I think that's the thing about this side, is they have all the foundations and all of the backbone in the world to be one of the best teams in Europe, but we haven't seen it yet because consistencies and little things like closing out rounds has been their issues.
And I think that that's all stuff that will come with time.
They have shown us rounds where they are unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then there's rounds where you think, why are they here? That's MnM. In a nutshell, that's what Jack has tried to explain and convey on this side. But have MnM achieved? Have MnM fans let us know. It feels like the radio feels like, get your questions in. We want to hear them. I think for what MnM were, and I think when we seen them, I mean, even get an invitational, I think that's already summed up your year, hasn't it? And this should be the building year. Same way we look at Navi, for example. Are we expecting Navi in the next 6 months to be challenging for majors? No, because we know it's the building phase. We probably said the same about MnM, and yet they went and still got a major. Just my 2 cents about it. But I mean, this side, this young MnM side should still be massively proud of this year that they've had, because it has been exceptional if you look at it. Take a step back, have a glance. Wow, they've done great work.
Absolutely. And like you say, those inconsistencies that we see from them, all we're looking for is for those to become fewer and further between and not seeing them all the time. Fortunately, now we're back in the game. Once again, we thank you for waiting with us during that short break, but we did need to get all the players back into the lobby and make sure that everyone was connected sufficiently. And hopefully now we can continue without a hitch. Round number 4.
New site.
A little bit of a change up from Heroic. Now going to be taking us to a different site.
Top floor.
Challenges does that pose MnM here? They coming up against a little bit of electrification. Grizzly going to be rocking the bandit this time.
Looking for the bandit trick on those double reinforced walls, which has been a go-to for MnM on these break room attacks, is to go and open up that wall. Plays very similar to really Bank if you think about Canto wall. It just shuts down a long corridor. That's essentially what that wall does, and the bandit trick is successful. A great pocket strategy from Heroic, well read into, knowing that that's a favorite of MnM, and you just put up the walls and they cannot get through the electrification as well. So if you're MnM, you've lost that main staple of, okay, we like to cut off these angles, we like to keep them trapped, we like to play those angles on break room. What is going to be your go-to? You're probably looking at Tyrant now. That's who we're after. We're looking at Tyrant to create that space, make the play. Yellow Stairs has been a favorite of him. Surely if Heroic know that MnM like to go for that long angle, surely they will know that Tyrant's going to be loving a Yellow Stairs push. Surely. Well, I think he knows now.
Mello certainly knows something's afoot as Tyrant nades out the barbed wire and gives himself the option to push up there at a later time. There's still so much that needs to be gathered here in terms of info. And quite a lot of utility to wade through as well.
Look at that shield.
2 ADSs, shield, mute jammer.
2 mute jammers.
It's the works. Just to keep control of the angle that looks into Cafe. That's not even an active position that's being played. It's just an option at this point.
Tyrant realistically needs to move in and take Arcade Stairs. He needs to go for that push, because if you look at how they're kind of set up, if you're MnM, it looks to me maybe just a single window jump in towards Arcade. That could be their option, but they need to eliminate anyone who may be in Arcade. It looks as if they've done that, as Uno has fell back from that position, so certainly jumping in that window. It could be on. It could be on for MnM, but they're just probing. They're waiting for a pick. This is where maybe the reliance on Tyrant, does it come in to hurt MnM? Because you're putting all your eggs in one basket, essentially.
Well, Soltov's actually made his way into Cafe and can now start to try and pinch out this player that's going to be on the yellow stairs. The Lion Scan might be the cue to call here. Tyrant, how do you win that? Takes the head off Mello and can now advance his way up those yellow stairs. The Toxic Babe canister is going to do what it can to try and cut him off, but it won't be enough. Nello, he removes Benja from play as Tyrant picks up his second on the round. Grizzly has a chance at the Arcade player, and that is going to be Nello. Puts a good portion of damage in, but it's not the finishing blow. That comes from Usus as Uno left again in the clutch. He gets taken out. Usus nets himself 2 there to close out the game. Just barrel stuffs him as he swings the corner. MnM, what great patience there, Demo. Really waiting for that right time.
Just your atypical MnM round. The plan A doesn't work. Plan B, Tyrant, go. Get in there. get stuck in. And he did exactly what we see him do week in, week out. I thought he was going to maybe rotate towards Arcade, because that's what they were opting for, was that single window jump in, which they went for. But as we've seen, the Lion rotated outside of the bottom floor Arcade window to try and hold on those stairs, and he did get the pick on the benches. He was looking to rotate up the stairs, so Heroic, you know, they were looking to outplay MnM, which they did in the early stage. Then they were looking to outplay them, rotating in towards Arcade stairs. It was outplayed then by MnM. MnM had everything covered, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to Tyrant getting his kills, and he did that. That's why I'm saying it's risky to put all your eggs in one basket. If they don't have Tyrant pushing up yellow stairs, that team's going to be slaughtered before they even think about jumping in the window.
The thing is, you say all your eggs in one basket. That was the plan, was to get Tyrant in that position. And
that was plan B. Keep in mind, that was plan B.
That was plan B.
Generally, the plan is Tyrant comes up yellow stairs while having the support of somebody on break room window. With that wall being opened up, it cuts off that long angle so nobody can swing him from the site door. And then all Tyrant needs to do is focus on maybe 1 or 2 angles rather than 3 or 4. That's the difference. And he still made it work, even though it was not on favorable circumstances.
Tyrant's 10-0 demo.
Yep.
It's a problem at this point.
Is he 10? Did he not die?
He's not died.
They lost a round.
He didn't die.
Did he not die?
No. Lost on time, didn't they?
You saved the KD. Baiter.
He did.
That's crucifixion
Genius.
for doing that.
This genius.
Baiting in these games.
It's absolutely
You
genius.
don't need the stats. You die for the badge. You die for the points. You gotta die to get the points.
Well, apparently not. Heroic. They need to start coming up with some rounds pretty quickly here, Demo. You gotta be... You'd like to think you were picking up an equal share of the spoils here on the defensive theme. Oh, a little bit of a hop in here. This might be Tyrant's time. Is he going to fall? Yes, eventually Benja gets the better of him. Both players taking a rather extended gunfight.
From the 2 top gunners as well. That was...
For players of their caliber, that was extended, let me tell you.
Like a support battle at the moment.
Oh, we are going to see the Selma's actually shot off there. Nice little rotation from Uno. MnM are having a bit of problem with getting the wall open.
Yes, just Heroic know that MnM like to go for that position. We've mentioned before how good it is. Look at this, though. Solotov, what were you trying? A sneaky play just to try and walk into the site, but the Banshee cuts him off, and Jim walks in from behind and picks him apart. Uses has the refrag, but the damage has been done. MnM have lost their 2 main entries. Tyra and Solotov both gone. Now it's up to Uses, Nello, and Neo to make it happen.
Pretty unforgivable there from Solotov. He found himself really far ahead of where he ought to have been.
Jumped the gun.
There were still players from MnM that could have held that for him. You know, you think about, we've got player playing the hatch, we've got potential for people to be on the balcony outside. There was opportunity there for that not to just be clearly getting shot in the back while you're caught in a Banshee. We're going to see a Rotero drone push in and remove one of the deployable shields inside of sight.
I like that from Grizzly.
He can just tuck himself in for the time being. We do have part of this wall soft.
Oh, if he gets
the drone is going to get taken out before they discover Grizzly's location as well. Unfortunately for Neo, Selma gets shot out mid-air. Really not having the best time with that heart breach utility.
Play pigeon shooting there from Heroic. Just pull, and they got it. Massive, massive pickup off utility. And MnM, what are they left with? Not a lot. Users tries to drop in to the top yellow hatch and just immediately gets shut down. MnM have been completely stalled out, smoked. Echo's still on the board. Look at this. It's just a fog of war that they have to push into. They don't know any positions. They have no idea about Grizzly. Uno can swing. There's Grizzly. He appears. A great pause. Was misdroned. Heroic get another one back. 3-2. The scoreline.
Heroic definitely deserved that round. MnM, they fumbled so much utility and positioning. Still befuddled by
the
Solotov
play.
pushing
Yeah. It has to be said that, sure, you're down a man, you've lost Tyrant, which we know is a big staple of this team. We understand that. That doesn't mean you start going die-hard. I think at that stage you're a 4v5.
Well, make your mind up, Demo. You just said you got to die for the badge.
Yes, die for the badge and die hard to stupid plays is a different one. But at that stage, you're a 4v5. Think about what you want to do. Sure enough, you may see an opening just to walk in. But how could you see an opening to walk in if you didn't spot a Banshee, for example?
Do you know, there's a saying, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. Information, shields up. I mean, he was
The thing is, what do you do once you get to the door?
He was going to sledge in the soft wall.
But
that was the
but
idea.
Then what do you do? There's
I know.
There's more problems than just
I know.
that.
Yeah, just... I don't know. I don't know.
3-2.
I don't have all the answers. Hold on. Let me just... Oh, didn't pack my crystal ball today.
No.
I'm sorry.
Damn.
Sorry.
I really hope she
Left it at home.
What'd you leave it at home for?
Didn't think I needed it today. Thought everything was going to be quite easy to
straightforward.
predict.
Nah,
And then all of a sudden, Rogan's Secrets just it's thrown the trolley out.
you need some clairvoyance. Side that MnM have had mixed results with so far. June, are you going to go for it?
See, this is where Heroic are just dangerous in the theme park defenses.
So
where
ratty, isn't
they
it?
can play control and then they just go rat. It throws you for a loop, doesn't it, if you're MnM, where I think for the past 2 rounds or so, Heroic have been very reserved in terms of how they've defended sites. But then all of a sudden they're out and about. That's just the way Heroic are, and that makes them so dangerous on a map like Theme Park. Similar to Villa, you know, we've seen the danger that they can do in Villa if you allow them that space and they can play these different play styles. They are, again, I don't know if it's a case of they're still trying to find out what their playstyle is. I think it's just they can play multiple playstyles if they want to.
I'm not sure if Anarchix maybe put like a fine on for any runouts this week, because we haven't actually seen any yet.
You put fines on Heroic for runouts there. Get me in that team and I'll be the debt collector, honestly. I'd be living in Beverly Hills if that was the case.
It's infinite money glitch, really, isn't it? But we haven't seen it from Heroic yet today. So they are certainly playing a little bit more reserved than they have done previously. Nello just going to dance with Grizzly. Grizzly is, of course, above him. C4 flies down onto the arcade stairs, but no one home to catch. Tyrant, he's crouch walked his way in on the nook, and Jume's probably gonna go, why is he there? Tyrant able to get himself out of dodge as well and continue to hold. He knows that there's somebody playing over in this break room side, and that somebody is going to be Grizzly. Well, nade comes through. There is going to be a player close on the cafeteria, and I don't think that Tyrant's aware. It's going to be Benja. Benja this time, a much cleaner engagement onto Tyrant, but Solitov there to trade things out.
But however, Benja still out and about, still alive, and Nello is going to be right below him, and oh, Benja misses the chance to eliminate Solitov, and his position is going to be known. Surely he's not getting out of this alive with Nello downstairs waiting for him to jump over. Use this, will pick him apart. Benji was debating on what avenue of approach he wanted to go for, and now it will be a 2 versus 4. Honestly, Heroic suffering from the same issues as maybe what we've seen before in the first round, or maybe even towards their drug defense. They are too far apart from one another. They cannot support each other with the refrags. You look at Tyrant, you've seen the way he's been playing Siege. Double up on the man. Why are you allowing to give him these individual 1v1s?
The best thing that Heroic have got going for them this time is that they have a lot of utility, but they still haven't really placed it in the right location. They've got some on Dragon Door, they've got some on Split, but there's nothing on that far wall demo.
That Goyo canister pop could be crucial, because now MnM are really going to be stalled. Mello is inside a fireplace. We've seen how much of an issue this was last time. He's going to castle for them, line up, and no! Oh, MnM have enough. That could have... Oh, don't like that. Don't like that.
It was definitely a risk, wasn't it? Especially given that they'd got that yellow wall open somewhat.
See, I thought he was going to be in a great position because I mentioned about Fireplace. If that isn't being cleared up with a nade, that man's untouchable, essentially. Heroic have then decided to castle them inside of Split, which we know MnM are always going to be dropping into Split. I honestly thought MnM were actually going to do something differently because they did open up yellow wall that time around, but then they still reverted into the same position.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
And I think Heroic, they're almost banking MnM are going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, albeit MnM basically did do that. They did do that, but...
There was a little bit of a bait, wasn't there, in opening yellow?
It seemed to be there must have been a second lapse of communication. Because who was the other player who was still alive? Who was the castle?
Uno.
Uno swung before that castle barricade was open, so they didn't have that squeeze. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't like the trash compactor in the Death Star. It wasn't that idea that I'm sure they were going for. It was one side went off, and then the other one was a bit delayed. That's what it felt like. It was a nice try. You can see what they went for with the counterplay, but just a second off.
It was classic MnM style, though, wasn't it? Just throwing 4 bodies at a problem, scrappy, people getting burnt, the shots going everywhere.
I thought the Goyo canister was going to cook them alive.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of confusing as to who's going to come out on top.
Oh, need to go and slow that down just to see what could have been. What could have been. Oh, thank God C3PO was there.
Stop it.
Any R2s in chat?
I was going to say it was R2, not C3PO.
Well, he screamed C3PO had to tell R2 to turn it off, didn't they?
Right.
That's how it worked. Don't try and question my knowledge. Don't go there.
4-2, MnM. Successful on the attack. Can they be as successful on the defense? Heroic, they're going to very quickly get things open here. Something that MnM really had no intention of doing, Demo.
This round will dictate the pace of how I see the majority of these rounds going. If Heroic come in with a really good attack, I think we could go all the way. If they slip up in this, a 5-2 all of a sudden looks to be a big gap. All of a sudden. And I think that then applies the pressure onto Heroic. Heroic need to come in with this. They need to respect MnM. MnM are a team that have players who can go for these great swings. We talk about Solotov in the defense. He can be crucial. We've seen what he did against G2 and Clubhouse. He is so good of just holding an angle and just killing anything that moves. So Heroic have to try really hard with utility. They have to try with drone work, which they're just not doing. They've gave away 2 early picks, no refrags to be seen, and they've lost Benja and they've lost Jum. We've seen how MnM struggle without their 2 main power players. I would say that Heroic will suffer the same.
Neo's even got himself back to sight here as well. Grizzly trying to open up the long angle and get some shots in, but he's going to be unsuccessful and eventually dip himself out. We've seen a nice rotation here from Nello. No one's going to anticipate him. No, wait.
They had a drone on him, They had a drone on him.
Nello is going to know exactly where he is. And
how's he in?
maybe going to start to try and think about getting the plant down. The Oster Shield is going to be set up.
It's like the Furia game for MnM. Remember everything with a 1v5 and then they just threw it. Oh dear.
Oh, how is he allowed to push so far in? We've seen a player on Dragon just not do anything about it. Neo picks up his second kill in the round. Uno, he's got the kit. Surely a plant behind the Oster Shield is looking like a pretty good idea at the moment, but instead they're just running the clock down. MnM, they've got the man count advantage, but do they have any information as to what's going on the site? They don't have a bulletproof, they don't have any cameras. Mello, tucked in behind the Oster Shield. He's keeping an eye on Split, but he doesn't really need to be concerned about what's going on there. Instead, should be turning his attention elsewhere. Uno, desperately trying to pick up a kill before he gets this plant down. It's almost like Heroic have got themselves into the Viper's nest and then stalled out. Mello going to give the game away with a couple of cursory shots there, as Uno battles the player that's going to be inside of Dragon Doorway. Now maybe looks to get the plant down, but with only 14 seconds left, surely MnM just have to push through. Solotov, he eventually takes him out. Mello, he's been inside for longer than the majority of the defenders put together, and he too will fall. Solotov. What a mess of a round!
Right. Okay. So.
Composure.
I don't even know.
We talked about this.
I'm not as bad. It's not as bad as Thursday. It's okay.
It's not quite as bad as Thursday.
I'm not flipping the table. It's okay. Right. Let's see. Let's have a breakdown. MnM done well. They got the first 2 opening picks. Then we see Heroic. Good job getting into the site, seeing that space, taking that space. I've seen MnM in that position before. Whenever they were at the major, they played against Furia. Furia did the same. They were in a horrible man disadvantage. They just set up an Oster Shield, and MnM just crumbled. I thought maybe the same could happen there, because if you look at it, all it is the shield setup. Mello covers everything. Uno goes in, plants, job done. Now it's up to MnM to have to retake against Oster Shields, which we know are going to be very, very difficult. However, Heroic, couple of mistakes. One, the back player, what's he doing? Pushing that far deep in is beyond me. You have throne control. Why do you need anything else? You can still plant and throne. Why are you pushing armory? Why are you trying to take armory whenever you don't know if it's clear or not? And then 2, how's Uno? Instead of going in for the plant, how is he in the... He's just prone. He's wasted so much time. And the issue is with stalling. Whenever you're going for those plays where you're trying to rush in and catch them by surprise, as soon as you stall, it's done.
Yeah.
As soon as you have that moment of indecisiveness, give them the round. That's it. It's over. Because MnM can talk to each other, they can think about what they want to do, and you can see MnM, they had the composure. As soon as the Buck died, everything slowed down.
Oh my goodness, June. June gets himself a great little opener this time onto Neo. Neo just getting caught out trying to barricade that door. I would agree, Demo. And I think MnM, whilst they didn't know exactly where the players were, they knew that they were inside. And it was just a waiting game.
They have the composure, and that shows that they have learned from Berlin. Have they not? Has that not shown us exact same scenario? But they've learned. They haven't panicked. They haven't all just rushed into the bomb site. They've stayed calm. And they're cool. Because I would say 9 times out of 10, MnM, those are the kind of rounds they lose, and they've shown us that throughout the past 3 months. Those are the rounds that MnM lose, and they didn't this time.
Well, so far, round number 8 isn't going too well for them, although Solotov could have something to say. Picks himself one before being directly traded. Already, we've seen 5 kills in this round, and we are only just approaching the halfway mark. Users got the long angle this time. Almost appears to be tracing the player through the wall there, as he obviously got some pretty good information on it. Grizzly, upside down repel. MnM must be feeling the pressure here because given the amount of time that Heroic have got and the tools that they have available to them, they've got everything they need to try and work a plan through here.
Yeah, they don't really need Uno and the Thermite whenever the walls are going to be opened up by MnM with these extensions across in towards Cash Room and the extension in towards Initiation. You can forego a hard breacher if you want to. So that does make things difficult for MnM. Not as if they have... Actually, they do have 2 pocket reinforcements, but there's no chance they're going to get anywhere near yellow or near that main initiation wall to get it reinforced up. I wonder, imagine if they go for it, but there's no way. It's too risky. The question is, what are Heroic going to do? They have a couple of options here. They can try and push in just from initiation into the more default attack in towards bunks, or they could look towards a cafe and yellow stairs take.
I think another question is, what are Heroic waiting for? They've got so much information at their fingertips.
If you're not decisive as a top-tier team, and if you're not decisive in these games, you're done. You are done. And we've seen that last round. You need to be decisive, Heroic, and they've just let another kill fall, and Grizzly has the refrag, now a 1v2 for Nello. Can he do it? We've seen him clutch many, many times. Looks away. Oh, he goes for the Vapo knife, but no, misses it out. Has the MR. Oh, bottles the shots. Ooh, Grizzly steadies the boat.
Nello's had a nightmare there, hasn't he? Bless him.
Oh, he has.
Little panic knife coming in and everything.
The Vapo knife. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. Certainly, you could ask questions of Heroic why it took them 60 seconds to take control of somewhere that there was just no defender presence whatsoever. There was 2 defenders alive. They were in daycare, miles away from anywhere, and it still took a whole minute. And had users, not got taken out immediately on the trade, it would have been very different.
Still for MnM, giving away some picks there that realistically they shouldn't. I mean, Neo's opening death kind of summed it up. We've seen a lot of opening deaths today, Ollie, where it's just been, head and hands moment, isn't it? Where it's like, what's going on there?
A little bit of siege timing.
It's just.
You got a feel for him, haven't you?
I suppose, but
everyone suffers to it at some point.
I know, but
in an official,
does he need to go for that barricade? Does he need?
Is that barricade that important?
Does he need to? That's the question. It's risky to go for it.
It is at that time. If you want to do it straight away, be my guest.
I'm just gonna say my motto in life: it is what it is. That's my motto. I'm sure that's many people's motto, isn't it? It is what it is. Brilliant. Brilliant from Heroic to steady the ship and get things back in. So only 2 rounds separate them. MnM need a response here. A little bit slow from MnM, giving way too much up to Heroic very, very quickly. Young Benja, he's on the Nook now.
This is, of course, the danger of leaving the Nook open, is that for all that Tyrant had a field day on this operator, you know that Benja's going to do exactly the same thing back to you. However, will he have the same impact? Tyrant, his contribution cannot be underestimated. Kicked things off with an ace in the first round. Really was a big part of a lot of the attacking wins for MnM.
I like that adaptation with sticking, obviously, Benja in first, because think of how long it took them to actually gain control of Top Dragon. It took them a while, didn't it, to really get in this position? They just took it within inside 30 seconds just by simply sending Benja up the staircase. It just, it's just that easy. And Heroic, I think, sometimes I think Heroic make it difficult for themselves in some of their attacks, where I think if they just keep it a little bit basic in the instances, they have a much better success rate.
It's almost strange to see in the fact that MnM aren't really playing anyone on the elbow. They're just outside of cash. You give up so much ground so quickly, as is demonstrated here with how quickly Heroic have started to occupy this space without playing that player aggressively. Obviously, you could use an Azami for that. Azami's banned. Typically, you just want a shield there, and that's usually good enough. It has given away quite a lot of control quite quickly. Benji now going to be below. Have a couple of hatches open that he can look to work with as well. Still got a couple of nades, so provided some good information. We maybe see a couple of depth charges thrown from below. But your biggest headache and your biggest problem is going to be how much ground Mello can gain here. Now, he does take quite a bit of damage. This is the downside of not having the Monty for this job demo.
Yeah, that's the difference. And again, we've mentioned before, MnM have done a great ban, really reading into Heroic and what has been a safety operator for them clearing out these roam games. Heroic have taken a lot of damage, individuals on very low HP, and similar to what we see from MnM, they are relying now on Benji making a play. Benji coming up yellow stairs, he's going to have to play pretty huge, and a C4 gets tossed, and he does get the kill before Neo will detonate it. It will be a trade. MnM respond themselves with a kill, and Heroic, well, they were relying on Benji pushing up. He managed to get a kill, but then he gets killed off immediately, and they're pretty much back in the same position. They have nowhere else to turn. They are all clogged up to one part of the map, and they're bearing down the barrel of a smoke.
Only one Toxic Babe canister remains in Nello's hand here.
Probably enough.
All he's got to do is burn out 20
we go.
seconds. Seeing an Ossa Shield picked up there and potentially replaced a little bit deeper in. No chance of a flank, as we have already seen, but it might not be necessary. June pushes in, finds one, but Nello picks up two, redeeming himself for the previous round. Mello can look to try and get this Ossa Shield down. He's going to give himself a little bit of safety, but he has likely not got the time to get the plant down. Instead, goes hunting for the kills on the red ping. Not a lot he can do there. MnM, they take this round and put themselves onto a match point.
That's a point for MnM. That's a point lost for Heroic. This is where I think if you're MnM now, you want to get all 3 points for your rounds to do it. Surely they can on the defense. For Heroic now, you've dropped points. The best you can do is 2 points for the day. I'm trying to figure out how this is going to affect everything else, because as we know, is G2 still in the running today? Surely they are. So I think
I believe so.
Are 3 points clean for MnM better? Or is it shared points better for G2? That's a question I put to you, Ollie. Do you have that on hand? I don't know.
Clean points for MnM is a 66% chance.
Right. A TK.
Oh,
What's
dear.
happened here?
Tyrant. How have, Neo, how have you taken out the star player? Is this the MnM effect? They're not throwing like man count advantages this time. They're just doing a little bit of casual TK in the prep phase. Dear oh dear. I wish you could see Demo's face right now. He's got his head in his hands. Well, these things happen. Demo, as some of us say, it is what it is. I'm sure that's what Tyrant's saying right now.
That's not supposed to be in that context.
Don't worry, Neo, it is what it is. Just go out and win the round anyway.
You're not sitting there thinking it is what it is. You're thinking, Neo, you donkey! What are you doing?
Oh dear. Well, at least he can be on the cameras, Demo.
Oh yeah, the cameras. Oh, the cameras. All those cameras instead of the Banshees that he could have placed down. Ooh.
Oh, the Banshees are overrated.
Oh, be quiet. Give me peace. Yep. Yep. Brilliant.
It's not even forgivable, is it?
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah.
Is this Use's attempt at trying to gain a quick kill back by going for a little bit of a spawn peek?
You need to now. You're in the back foot, so you need to try and hunt for these kills, but it just makes it difficult. MnM. You always make it difficult for yourselves. They always do.
They do.
A double drop.
Oh, Use's going for it. Oh my goodness, he finds it. Gets one onto Benja. Probably the most important kill he could have gotten. And he just goes, relax. I've got you back, Neo.
So the takedown sledge, that's 2 nades gone, which is very, very important. Sledgehammer, not so much, because you have breaching charges still in pocket alongside the buck, so it's you don't have to worry about the verticality being an issue, but you're losing those nades now. Clearing out these set positions, that's going to be the tricky thing now if you're Heroic.
Oh dear, oh dear.
I'm sorry.
Nello?
Where
Gives himself for free?
are you headed?
Question marks. Type your question marks in the chat. I'm not entirely sure why Nello is there.
I don't know what the comms were. I don't know what the call was.
Was the
from
intention
MnM.
a C4 potentially?
Was it trying to catch them by surprise and saying that, hey, nobody's going to be top dragon on a top dragon attack? I'm not sure.
I mean, I doubt that. Mello's got himself in behind controlled desk. He's going to have Solotov to contend with. Solotov shuts Uno down. He's double dipping for a second. Mello eventually shuts him down as well.
In for a penny, in for a
Side
pound.
players have retreated. There are only 2 of them now, Neo and Usus.
Weird round this, isn't it? It's another one of those
I mean, it is at the point where you've got a
it's
legion and an alibi left as your
It's
side players.
just trade after trade after trade. So, Heroic. Minute to go. You have verticality. Don't have any hard breach. Have all of the walls being reinforced by MnM. If it has, and also the hatch. So that wall's done, that wall's done. Yellow wall has to be done. This hatch. Okay. All they have is 2 doorways and a hatch. And the important position again, fireplace player. Neo in that position. No nades from Benja. They cannot remove him from that spot. So it's going to have to come down to another one of those win the gunfight engagements. That is treacherous for Heroic that they have to play that. MnM are reading into this very, very well. Look at the positions of both of them. One in fireplace, one beside the split door, expecting the hatch. They know that the hatch realistically is the only thing that they're going to be able to go for. Nice rotate from Jim, realizing about fireplace. Here comes a double drop. Neo's in the middle of it. Uses, leaves him a TK this time for Heroic. No, 1v2 uses. Diffuser will be planted. He knows exactly where Jim's going to be. Has to pre-fire. Oh, sees him but misses his shots. Doesn't pull it quick enough. Grizzly will stick to Diffuse. A spray from users, but to no avail. Has to slow down. Jim hits him again. Back and forth. Who's going to win? Who's going to win the round? Uses has to make the push, has to make the play. He beats him in, he gets the down. 30 seconds to go. Grizzly, where is he? He's rotated back. He's inside of barrels. The diffuser is planted for him. He can just walk in and pre-fire. As soon as he hears the ticks happen, Uses, does he know that? Uses looking to push in towards split. Now back over towards the diffuser. Will start to stick it. Grizzly has to make a move. He has to make the push in. Is he going to have the shotgun out? Is he going to have the gun out? No, he wins it with the gun. Grizzly holds his nerve, wins the 1v1, and keeps Heroic in it. Whew.
Try as he might, Uses' performance in round number 10 wasn't quite enough. He covered every inch of the map there, Demo. Got the opening pick after the unfortunate team kill, which was later neutralized. Grizzly, unfortunately, TK'd as well. A mess of a round.
That engagement with Jim,
I mean, that was scrappy. June played that relatively well. He didn't need to peek, but he wasted a lot of time.
It was a really good rotate from Jim, because Jim was able to realize that, hey, we don't have anything for the fireplace player. I need to see if I can get an angle. And you can get an angle from that doorway.
Well, he did a bit of damage,
He did a bit of damage, didn't kill him, but it was enough to spook Neo, wasn't it? It was enough to get him a little bit flustered. The drop came in. It must have been the comms where Neo was saying, I'm getting shot from Dragon. Uses was then looking to kill the Dragon player, but as soon as he left the pause, then both of them dropped. That was the issue. If both of them had dropped and Uses was in the position he should have been, you would have had that crossfire, you would have put them in the meat grinder, and that would have been the round pretty much done. You don't have to worry about Jim at that stage, because then he has to push for a single file door. I come back to the point, imagine if they had Banshees. Imagine if they had Banshees.
5 seconds to go.
That isn't really what you want to be hearing if you're...
But it's true.
Neo.
It is true. Think of it, if in that situation with about 10 seconds to go, you have Banshees. First of all, it's not only going to be good for disabling players as they push in through split, it's going to obviously slow them down, but whacking one on the Dragon door, what that will do is give you the sound cue if somebody walks in Dragon.
Oh.
That is the important thing about that hold, is you're dealing with two doorways, put a Banshee in one, no problem.
I'm in no doubt that that would have been the difference maker. But I don't think that Neo needs to hear it. Maybe not right now anyway, maybe after the game.
Look, if you do well, you get praised. If you don't expect the praise, right? That's the way I operate. They know that's the way I operate. They know that.
If you don't, you get flamed.
No, it's not flaming. It's just pointing obvious. You know, can't just be Mr. Nice Guy every time, can you?
Solotov dancing around this opening engagement again. Benji's had a quiet couple of rounds. Obviously, he was removed straight away previously, but even still, sitting at 4 and 5. We saw a rehost at the end of round 3.
This is where Solotov's dangerous, isn't it?
But Solotov is a player that you have to try and remove. I spoke about playing this position a little bit more aggressively, and look at him! Picks up the headshot onto Benja. Neutralized and removed. He's got a little bit of support here as well. Uses is obviously fancying it. Solotov double dips, goes for a second and takes Grizzly down. Heroic, they're falling by the wayside here, Demo. They're not even getting themselves in the building.
It's the exact same situation that G2 suffered from. It's peeking Solotov in a stationary position. He moves, he dances around his positioning to such extremes. No, Mallow is ready for him that time around. Solotov is eliminated, but the damage has been done. 3 versus 4. You've lost again. Benji, you've lost those nades. You've lost the nades this time from Grizzly also. That does not put you in a good position once again.
Uses is just lurking for this kill as well. He's got the default camera open, so he's probably going to get the information, and he does. He just pops up out of nowhere, takes Mello down. There might be a full minute, and there might be hard breach available, but you know, June, are you going to get a chance to use it in an impactful way? They're droning the side Demo. They know what's going on there, but they don't even know what's going on the roam game. Got himself here to the bottom of yellow stairs. The wall is going to be entirely open. Tyrant takes June down, and Nello finds the final kill. Smoke's going out in an attempt for a plan, but it was never going to come down to that. MnM successful here on Theme Park. What a result. 7 rounds to 4 against Heroic in our match of the day.
Scrappy game from all accords from both teams, but MnM being able to capitalize on the mistakes more from Heroic, but oh boy, What can you say apart from well played MnM? Heroic, just it looks to be a different Heroic than what we've seen on Thursday night. It was a lot more by themselves. It was more reliance, I think, on Benji making plays, which I don't think you would have said that on Thursday night. I think Thursday night against Secret, it was very much a team performance. Everyone was getting stuck in.
Yeah.
This time it seemed to be they lost Benji early on, they lose Jum early on. That's it. That's it. There was nobody else to step up today.
Benji had a bit of a nothing game.
Benji honestly wasn't really there.
On the flip side, Tyrant users.
Yeah, I mean,
back to back.
First couple rounds.
What a first 3 rounds.
Solid on the defense.
After
there.
4 rounds, what was he, 10-0, something crazy like that? Ended up obviously a little bit worse off than that, but realistically, MnM showed us really what you can do if you do your homework, because they did the homework against Heroic there. The Monty ban was inspired. It forced a lot of Ossa play, which, as we saw, wasn't all too successful. Great result there for MnM. We're going to throw this one back over to our desk, and they're going to break it down.